We want to see the real rural countryside and discover the unseen part of southern China. We're places that I had only seen in very few documentaries. So we left Beihai City, where we lived for a month, and we continued our road trip to rural southern China in Guangxi Province. In China, there are 1.4 billion in population, among them 752 million people, which are more than half holds a rural household registration, which basically means they are at least born and raised in rural areas like small towns and villages in China. Nowadays, a lot of rural-raised people go to big cities and start their career and life there, looking forward to get better pay and opportunities. But there are still around 509 million people permanently living in rural areas of China, representing 36% of the total population, according to data from the Chinese Bureau of Statistics. Don't get me wrong, we definitely like the convenience and opportunity in all big cities, but we also prefer the simplicity, peace, and scenery of the countryside. We are looking forward to find out what this unseen part of China looks like that raises over half of the Chinese population. First, we went to the China-Vietnam border to find out what real villages by the border really looks like in China. Our story began here at Jingxi town, the very last town next to the border, which are 5 hours drive from Beihai City. We arrived here last night, and now we're heading to the China-Vietnam border called Longbang Port of Entry. It's only 40 minutes from our hotel. There are lots of port of entry locations at the border in Guangxi Province. As I mentioned in my previous episode, the closest one, called Tongling Port of Entry, is only 150 kilometers from Beihai City. This Longbang Port of Entry we are in right now is the most remote, furthest one. So we can tell it's not that busy. There are almost no one on the highway when we are approaching from our hotel to the border. We can tell the local police are very strict on border protection and patrol. Each and single vehicle and passengers have to be strictly checked. We are good guys, so after checkpoints, we finally arrive.
Here, we are at the Chinese National Gate of Longbang Port of Entry. We are, of course, on the Chinese side. Behind this building is Vietnam. Although it is pretty remote here, the port is under the management of Jingxi town. So it says welcome to Jingxi. The history of this border port of entry can be traced back to the Qing dynasty, when it first opened in the year 1896. It is called Duixun. At that time, it is a Class 1 port in China, which is the top-rated port class, being an essential connection between Guangxi, Yunnan, and Guizhou Province to Vietnam and other Southeast Asian countries. The port expanded with new buildings in December 2023.
Here is an entry and exit notice you must read if you are crossing the border.
My parents traveled to Vietnam with me in my mom's car driving across the border 2,200 kilometers from Guangxi all the way to Ho Chi Minh City when I was still in middle school.
So with the mentality of giving it a try, we grabbed our passports and asked the staff working in the border service if we could cross the border without a travel visa. The staff said before COVID, if you come back on the same day, you could travel to Vietnam without a travel visa. But after COVID, everything has become very strict. You can only travel with a valid visa. But I'm surprised to know local people can just cross the border whenever they want with their local residence permit. And they can stay and work in Vietnam as long as they would like to. But for us and all others, we do need a few days to prepare a Vietnam travel visa.
Going uphill that way we can arrive at a small village called Hulong Village. It is right next to the borderline.
Here's the center of Hulong Village. It is way smaller than a village. It's more like a hamlet.
The other side of the border is Longbang Province in Vietnam.
To be honest, if I live here, I might just accidentally walk into Vietnam, not on purpose. The terrain and landform in Vietnam on that side basically look the same as Guangxi Province, with that characteristic karst topography.
Although it is a small village, we can see lots of retail stores and local people selling Vietnamese goods and small commodities. Here is the G7 Vietnamese coffee. I recognize that it is for sale at Asian markets in Canada.
Vietnam has the best location and climate conditions for coffee beans to grow. Vietnamese coffee is famous not just because its price, but also its premium quality. Plus, it has a special taste due to Vietnam's special coffee bean baking process. Nowadays, coffee has become one of the three mainstay industries in Vietnam.
This is the Vietnamese Red Bull.
It is not a local fake drink or something, it is real.
I think it's a little bit sweeter than Chinese version. I think it's
a little bit sour, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And then the Vietnamese Red Bull is cheaper than Chinese one. So that's the last one. Next time, I will definitely get more.
I think Red Bull in North America is actually it's even another flavor. It's not the same as Chinese or either Vietnamese ones.
Even for the bottle, that's different. I think in Vietnam and China, they always use the yellow bottle. But in North America, that's pretty much different. They use the silver and blue one.
And blue,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but we also have the silver and blue one. But that one is more expensive. And I think it's more energy. More energy, I think. We love Vietnamese goods. We have lots of Vietnamese friends in Canada. And we often go to Vietnamese and Asian supermarket in Vancouver. It is really exciting to see lots of original Vietnamese merchandise. So we made lots of purchases today. The back of our vehicle is all full.
After we talked with few local store owners, we learned lots of people on both sides cross the border every day doing international trading related work. Lots of Vietnamese come here and lots of Chinese go to the Vietnam side to do work. Surprisingly, they can all speak the same language, called drone language. It is either Mandarin or Cantonese. Michelle do speak both, but she cannot understand drone language. And it is definitely not Vietnamese. The good thing is the retail store owner do speak Mandarin, so we can ask her a lot of questions. She said if she went to the south of Vietnam, like Ho Chi Minh City, she could not communicate with drone language. Then we headed to another village close to the border called Jiuzhou Village. It is famous for handmade silk embroidered balls. We followed the karst landform along our way. The view on the road is magnificent. Very rare to see this kind of landscape all around you. It is a beautiful and peaceful town with poultry everywhere. They were so cute just by looking at them.
Wow, this chicken is really fat. It is walking very slowly. Hello. Could you tell is this chicken a male or female?
It should be a male. He has a coxcomb. He definitely got some attitude here. He doesn't want to be your friend.
Here is the downtown main street of Jiuzhou Village.
Jiuzhou Village is an ancient village with a long history and profound cultural heritage. As early as 1,000 years ago, Jiuzhou served as the capital of Guishunzhou, ancient name of Jingxi city region. Back then, it is a pretty big city versus a village right now. And Jiuzhou has always been an important political gateway, trading hub, cultural center, and military fortress on the China-Vietnam border. It is undoubtedly a millennium ancient city. The village was officially founded in the Song dynasty. After years of development, it gradually became a settlement of the Zhuang ethnic group and is known as the living museum of the Zhuang people. The ancient town attracts numerous tourists with its unique nature scenery and rich historical culture, surrounded by picturesque peaks, mountains, and rivers. In addition, the ancient town of Jiuzhou is famous for its unique embroidery ball culture. You can see the symbol everywhere inside the village.
The embroidered ball is the mascot of love between young men and women in the Zhuang group with a history of over 1,000 years. There are over 500 households in Jiuzhou streets, and every household knows how to make embroidered ball. From 7 or 8-year-old children to 60 or 70-year-old ladies, they all participate in making embroidered balls. With an annual output of more than 300,000 balls, it is known as the hometown of Chinese embroidered balls. Since I'm from Guangxi, we got ours as well. It was very exquisitely made.
Under this Chinese-style pavilion flows the river called Equan River. Sadly, our drone flew into a bunch of trees while we were filming. Ouch, my bad. Because we are obviously at a very remote village by the border, there's no stores that can fix our drone. So we called DJI, which is our drone manufacturer.
Our partner here really hurts.
DJI says we are in a pretty rural area, so we have to mail it to them for an inspection. With that terrible disappointment, it's time to continue our trip following the Equan River to Equan Village, another village along the border. Quan in Mandarin means springs. Equan is one of the 3 famous springs in southwestern China, with a history of more than 700 years. In our previous episode, we mentioned a city full of springs. In Mandarin, it's called Quan City, which is Jinan City. Please check out that ancient city if you haven't yet. Equan River is one of the source for the largest transnational waterfall in Asia, Detian Waterfall. The waterfall crosses the border of Vietnam and China. The waterfall on the Vietnamese side is called Ban Zhou Waterfall. We didn't go to the waterfall this time because now it's dry season with low water level, so it won't be as beautiful in the summertime. We will bring you guys with us next time. When we're in the parking lot, here comes a super big butterfly. It's a very beautiful scenic point just to walk around.
到了家乡不给人大伙唱一首歌啊？
唱什么呀？
都行啊。
那就唱山歌好比春江水吧。山歌好比春江水嘞，不怕滩险弯又多，弯又多。
After that, we headed to another must-see viewpoint, which is the Tongling waterfall. So basically, there is a waterfall in between two mountains. It's like a valley over here. So it's also called the Tongling Gorge.
It is already getting late, so we are heading back to our hotel.
And of course, not surprisingly, we have to pass couple checkpoints before we can head on to the highway. During nighttime, it makes the mountain looks way bigger than what they really are at daytime. The next day, we went to do some city walk in town. All 3 villages we went yesterday are under the management of Jingxi town right now. And Jingxi town is under the management of Baise city. And Baise is a major city in Guangxi Province, same as Beihai city we are in earlier. Initially, we planned to tour around Baise city, but obviously our drone is down, so we will skip it for this time. Let's go and tour the town of Jingxi. Now we are in Longtan Wetland Park. Now it's a Friday afternoon, so we can see students from Jingxi High School are leaving school right now. You can tell it is a city that is surrounded by mountains and peaks due to its karst landform. Here's the biggest shopping mall in the center of downtown Jingxi. Michelle and I were walking in the biggest mall in Jingxi.
各位新老顾客，欢迎光临大东专卖店。大东特卖会，清仓大促，惊爆低价，就单15款装，
After a few days, we actually do get our drone back, so we decided to head to Xingdao Lake, which another name as the Thousand Islands Lake in Guangxi Province. By the name, it's pretty easy to understand. There is almost 1,000 islands in a lake, but it really do sound like a pretty remote and rural area in Guangxi. I think it's pretty obvious to see we actually do spend a lot of effort coming to the lake. After going through lots of rural little small roads, we finally arrived. Please enjoy. Xingdao Lake is a very important freshwater reservoir for southern Guangxi Province, containing 1,026 small islands and the area of 66 square kilometers, which is 26 square miles. It's one of the very big freshwater lakes in the area. On our way back, we passed Shiwan Village. It's a pretty ordinary village with unordinary view. Water in the river right here is actually from Xinghu Lake. It really attracts my eyes a lot. Finally, we arrived at our last destination in rural Guangxi Province, called Tieshan Village, after we drove back from the China-Vietnam border. Tieshan Village is next to the South Sea coast, and actually pretty close to Beihai City. If you haven't checked out our Beihai video, please click the link. Tieshan is a seacoast village famous for its white pearl, which can be traced back to the Qin dynasty 2,500 years ago. Nowadays, the most essential place of Tieshan is not the town anymore. It is the Tieshan Port. The port is a crucial deep water port for commercial container ships in Guangxi Province. And also, PetroChina is building a massive crude oil and natural gas factory here to get the oil and gas from the deep sea. It is one of the few biggest industries in Guangxi or even southern China. It's kind of sad because originally here it should be a beautiful sea. I guess it's the downside for a country's economy to grow because we can see factories taking over natural sceneries. But I can't do anything about them. I can only make sure I do not create any pollution. On the other hand, I do want the country's economy to grow good because the country needs all those sources to support its economy growth. Tieshan Port not only have heavy industries, but also have amazing views without lots of tourists. People coming here to travel usually don't come to small rural places and industry zones. So please enjoy. Thank you for watching till the end. Your support can help us produce more quality contents. And please give me a minute to introduce ourselves. Hi, I am Roderick.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
We are a Chinese couple who lives in Vancouver, Canada. We both spent 6 years in the States at Michigan, attending grade 11 and grade 12 in high school, and get our bachelor's degree in Michigan State University. Then we moved to Canada and get our permanent residency in 2018. We deeply love and believe that North America is our amazing home and will be our final destination.
However, we have had our travel around the world dream since we were a kid. So we both quit our stable good paid job in Vancouver and tried to follow our dreams.
First, we decided to travel to China. It is the country that both of us were born in, but we didn't really have a chance to explore it a lot. Time flies. It has been 13 years since we haven't been back to China. And now it is the time that we explore a lot of interesting places and things. We went from north to south, from day to night, from mountains to rivers, from seacoast to the Tibet Plateau. We gained a lot of happiness and amazing memories, exploring the profound meaning of life.
Our channel is to share our adventures while exploring different cities and countries. The world is bigger than you think, and the life is too short to do boring things. So please join us and come along with our amazing trip together.
And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss out our new video updates.